probably isn't going to be nerfed anytime soon because it just had a nerf.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I imagine before the nerf, it was crazy. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Priest in the future and if that has a big upswing next week. But for now, let's move on with these games. It's going to be a Warlock banned out for Bloodtrail, which is a shame because it's a Zoolander. And then the Druid is going to be shielded, and Shaxy shielding his Druid, and his Warlock being banned out. So Warlock, for a class that is, I think, flew under the radar since Q-Block, is garnering a lot of respect in Grandmasters the past week and a half. And also, my respect goes to Shaxy as well, because not only is there a Quest Paladin in his lineup, it is one of my favorite decks. It's Quest Malygos Druid. I love this deck. It's so cool, and I feel like it actually just shows up some of the weaknesses that the other sort of more generic quest druids have of being super predictable.
Yeah.
Because, okay, yeah, I'm predictable. I have Mali and a ton of Moonfires. You're dead. It's like that's predictable. Great.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's check out Bloodtrail's lineup and how it's shaken up overall. So he does have that Warrior with the Tiamat inclusion, which is okay. If you want to run some beef late game, I'm never too against that one. He has the Quest Druid, which is the standard version with Chef Nomi, Scenaris, and King Floris at the top.
Yeah.
There is the Zephyrus in there as well, of course. And then he runs the Holy Wrath Paladin, which has no Zephyrus.
Yeah, I think all of Bloodtrail's lists, I have a bit of a question mark about them. Like, in Warrior, Tiamat is fine, right? You want a bit of extra late game. Do you really want that over a Dynamatic, or an Eternium Rover, or a Town Crier, or a Frightened Flunky?
Or an Omega Devastator as well.
Right, there's so many one-offs in his deck list that I think, you know, Spellbreaker and the Tiamat, they're good cards, but there's a reason that Warrior is the premier class at the moment. It's because its mid and early game power is off the charts.
I think Spellbreaker I can get behind because there's a lot of funky stuff going on.
Priest, I guess.
Well, Priest, even Druid with all the buffs and stuff like that, I think that's fine. But the Tiamat, although I like more power late game, if you want more late game in Warrior for late game matchups, play Mechathan. Or play like other decks.
Or just play more mechs.
Yeah, or just play, you know, other things. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Let's check out Shaxy's lineup, which may be my favorite lineup of the week. He's running double Hecklebot in his Warrior.
I think that's smart.
He ain't messing around.
Yeah.
He's running Malygos Druid. The combo there, just, you know, Moonfire key card kind of, because you effectively try and reduce Malygos, although it's not needed at all. If you hit Elise, it's good.
Against Warrior, it helps a little bit to just get it more smoothly.
It does, yeah. You can still guarantee like a double Malygos, and then you create like up 4 or more Moonfires with the Elise cycles, and then just hit someone for like 60 or something if you really need to. But yeah, the Hecklebot and his Warrior is pretty nice, and then obviously this Quest Paladin with the addition of that Countess Ashmore, and you're slowly, or you did slowly come around to Quest Paladin
big time
over the past week or so.
Yeah.
And I believe you've been playing a bit this week. What are your thoughts on it? You know, a week on?
I think, in my opinion, at the end of last week, like I think at the start of last week, I was a bit too down on it. At the end of the last week, I think I kind of got a good idea for it, which is a strong tournament deck, pretty weak ladder deck, in my opinion. With all the priests that are knocking around, I don't think you quite have the liberty to play it yet. If the meta becomes vastly more warriors, then I think you definitely can.
Right.
But in tournament, when it is pretty much every player, the vast majority at least, going with Druid and Warrior, Quest Paladin feels like a very strong inclusion, and also a good reason to ban away the Warlock, of course, because that's the most aggressive matchup, and that is why I think Shaxy has got himself, overall, a pretty good matchup here against Bloodtrail.
That's it, and it's not the first time already in this format I'm saying this, but Shaxy's lineups, he seems to get it a bit more than most of the other players. In APAC at least. Obviously I can't go into too much detail in UNNA because physically cannot watch every minute
of the night.
But yeah, I feel like Shaxy's got a good grasp of what he wants to do and creates a lineup that does the job. Even this, look at this matchup, right? Hecklebotting out an Oasis Surger. It's 1/3/3 you'd pull out of the deck. Hecklebot flew. Hecklebot Nomi. Like, nearly every Druid minion is insane to draw out.
I think overall, cards like Hecklebot, and in my experience, I've been playing a bit of Big Shaman, mostly for fun, which has Blatant Decoy. Any cards that pull cards from your opponent's hand or deck, I think are really strong at the moment. If you're pulling cards like against Druid, Floop, Zephyrus, I mean, it's a Zephyrus meta, right? So many of the decks that aren't even Singleton are playing Zephyrus. And if you can hit that, it's just insane. Quest Shaman, every single card in the deck is like a 2/2 or a 1/1. Like it's all small cards.
And look, if you pull anything, you know, look at Sandstorm Elemental, look at any Lackey Generations. You pull any of those, it might not look crazy, but that's potentially like 4 Lackeys you've negated from the game, which is nuts. And also as well,
it's also a 3/8. Let us not forget, it's a 4-mana 3/8.
It's pretty beefy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like some of these heads-up plays as we see the Loti come down, speaking of heads-up plays, to take down this Acolyte and still challenge the 1/3. Bloodtrail not off to a bad start.
Yeah, I like that too.
But it's why Bloodstinger, I feel like that should just be in more hunter decks.
Bloodstinger. Oh yeah.
Because just pulls a minion out and kills it, because it kills pretty much every minion in the game right now.
Was Shaxy the player playing that last week?
I think he played it last week in his hunter.
Yeah, I think so. But in the nitty-gritty of this game, it seems like it's gone relatively standard for the most part. Shaxy has not pulled significantly far ahead, which feels like a liberty only afforded to you when you hit Snip Snap. Shaxy, however, is not playing Snip Snap, so he is obviously not able to get off to those kind of explosive starts.
Got to make the cuts somewhere for these heckle butts.
And Snip Snap is great at making those cuts.
Hey. Just play it, Shax. That's all I want to see, to be honest. Just heckle bot and see what happens.
Oh, right. When you said play it, I was like, what? Brawl? To assert dominance over your opponent.
Oh, interesting. So, this is what I was going to mention. I want to say it was match 1 of the day. I might be wrong. So, you talked a lot about Super Collider versus Surgeon. And you liked the pre-equip in a game early today.
I did.
I kind of don't like the pre-equip if you can afford to, because if you equip it, they're probably not just going to play Surge and Pass. If you don't equip it, they might play Surge and Pass, and then you kill, and it's done nothing. You know what I mean?
I fully understand your point, yeah. I think my argument in response to that would be if they're not playing Oasis Surger on turn 5, brilliant. Because unless they have exactly Innovate Nourish,
okay, yeah, you know what, okay.
I think it pulls you enough ahead.
And it's all relative of if you've got the mana, the time, the hand size
for sure
to mess around with.
Because I would especially argue with Shaxy's deck where he's playing double Brawl, double Plague of Wrath. If both players are sitting there doing nothing, Shaxy wins.
True.
Because the late game for Bloodtrail will not be good enough, I think, to get a victory. Or usually, Bloodtrail does have a ridiculously heavy build here with Elise, Chef Nomi, and King Feoris. Like, if he's able to not just completely run out of card draw in the mid-game, Bloodtrail has absurd amounts of removal.
I do like the shield slam here. It's going to be cleaning up this whole board very straight. It's a very straightforward manner, and even develops a Restless Mummy into this. Considering that was a, you know, rushed out scenario due to the help of Nourish last turn, Bloodtrail, that was a solid cleanup.
This is going to be such an interesting matchup because Shaxy has completely gutted all aggression from his deck. There's no Armagadillos, there's no Tomb Wardens, there's not even Snip Snap in the deck to be able to go for a little bit of early aggression. It's just like all removal,
I think Shaxy
but will it be enough?
I think Shaxy needs to really consider playing this Echobot, less because it would be funny, but more because with it, Bloodtrail's played 2 Nourishes, like he might have all the minions, or most of them in his hand right now.
Imagine if he hits Elise. Or Nomi. Like, the difference is insane. And as it currently stands, there's not many minions he could hit in the deck that aren't late game finishers.
That's what I mean, like in Druid, most of the minions are good.
Oh yeah, I mean, I fully agree with you. It's a big draw. However, there is still King Feoris and Elise the Enlightened knocking about in the deck. Both of which would obviously be fairly strong.
I think he has to play it soon. He's seen Crystal, he's seen 1 Crystal Merchant, he's seen the Anubis Defender. You know, these are the bad ones, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to pull out these. If you've seen them, then it's more and more and more likely that you're going to pull something good. But there's literally, what, only... Yeah, there's only Elise and the King Feoris, right?
Light the fuses!
It's good, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because Fluke's even there as well.
Or Scenarios, I suppose, but that's already been played, so yeah.
Oh, wow.
Big draws for Bloodtrail.
Bloodtrail playing around this Hecklebot like a god.
However, could this end up in the kind of situation that we saw earlier on for, who was it? Samuel Sao up against Rivius, where he had to just destroy his own minions purely to dump cards out of the hand.
Yeah, just like Starfall and empty board and stuff.
Right, he was playing Anubis at defender and then beezing it and wrathing it.
Wow.
Well, I guess this is the best way to play around the Super Collider. You don't play them one at a time, you go in all at once.
So Hecklebot Brawl this too?
Oh, I don't think you want to use a Brawl here. Like, I mean, I was looking at Swing and then Dr. Boom, to be honest.
There is 2 Plague of Wraths in this deck as well, Derek, remember?
Right, but there's Elise, Nomi, Flute, King Pharos. That's like 6 threats.
If you Hecklebot,
I mean, it's potentially infinite threats. I mean, yeah. It's possible.
Okay, it's going to get boomed down now.
But imagine if he hits the other Anubis defender. Like, it's so sad at that point. Or if he can hit Scenarios here, would have been very important to maybe demand an answer like a Plague of Wrath or a Brawl from his opponent. But Bloodtrail hits some pretty lukewarm minions here. Nothing I'm particularly excited about.
Bloodtrail just like double swipes face. Pushes 10. That's like 18
in that
damage
kind of
in one
double
turn.
swipe face Crystal Power. Like,
yeah.
Why not? Okay. This does kind of shrink the hand space a little bit and keep the draw rolling. And I think that's the main thing that Bloodtrail needs to be afraid of, is running out of draw completely. Because 9 turns away, going for Chef Nomi, I think is too slow. I think now we're getting closer to the point where we could see Hecklebot Brawl. But even then it hurts.
Well, it does, because there's nothing good to Hecklebot anymore that we can see, of course. And the problem
Well,
is...
there's still King Pharos.
Yeah, but there's also 2 Nourishes been played. So, like, King Pharos is only so good, right? Obviously, it's not bad if he pulls it, don't get me wrong.
The absolute nightmare for Shaxy. There's not even that many minions in the deck.
Play another Hecklebot and commit, Shaxy. Just be like, I will get you, King Pharos.
I mean, it's not bad. It still strips a lot of value from the deck, but for Bloodtrail, just deleting Anubis at defender from the deck is honestly not even that bad.
It's closer to no.
Yeah.
Oh. What a god.
Oh. Shaxy doesn't even have faith in his minion, attacks beforehand, and Hecklebot proves him wrong.
It's one of those few times where the heckler actually doesn't get shown up by the comedian or whatever, and actually just wins the argument, and the comedian just walks off stage. So, okay, well, you beat me. It's something I would never do.
What, heckle someone?
Yeah. Not at like a... Well, specifically at like a comedy show or something.
Yeah.
You're never going to win.
You are never going to win. I think, yeah, if you got a really good line, I'd consider it. If you're just being a drunken lout, then I would also consider it, but I think it's less tasteful.
You're a man of taste, aren't you? Don't?
Yes, specific tastes.
Your wish is my suggestion.
Right, Bloodtrail saying it's Zephyrus time to get the Tyrion on the board. I think, you know, pretty much every time we've seen the Druid up against Warrior, it's either like Savage Roar for lethal or Tyrion.
Right.
It's pretty much the only 2 options. As it does, I think, prompt Shaxy to try and have another shot at pulling King Pharos. I think he's guaranteed at this point. I'm not even sure what else is in the deck. But again, for Bloodtrail, it's kind of sad because he loses out on King Pharos. But it's a card closer to Chef Nomi being active.
I think if I was Bloodtrail, I'd actually be happy at that.
Yeah.
Because King Pharos kind of sucks.
He has infinite value,
he doesn't
basically.
Have the time. Yeah, he doesn't have the time to play Pharos anyway.
If he can really distill his hand down to like Nomi, Flute, and Elise, he could just go Elise, Flute, Elise, and just get like 5 Nomis. Maybe that's overkill. Maybe he only needs the 4.
Well, 5's just silly, Derek.
Calm down.
It's like, take it too far.
Perfect turn to dump some of these useless removal cards.
And I wouldn't even say, like, you mean the word dump by just getting rid of.
Get rid of. I mean,
but
he's found a use for them.
Yeah, getting rid of in a very nice way. This has opened up a lot of damage. It's not like he's just throwing them out there randomly. Like, this is a very good use of those cards.
It is indeed.
And Shaxy definitely on the back foot.
This is one of the
trouble.
downsides as well of not running the Megadillo Tomb Warden packages. You can't stop these Ashbringers coming face, and you have to expect Ashbringer every game against Druid.
Now, if you heckle bottom out, Derek, that's the
Fair
plan.
point.
Small note as well, it might, maybe probably won't ever even make too much of an impact. But there's bomb generation now for Shaxy, and if Bloodtrail's hitting fatigue, then the bombs are going to start stacking up even more. Maybe that's an extra bit of damage that Shaxy's going to use if he can clear enough of this board. But I think even Shaxy might be coming to the realization that he's not hit enough of the things he needed to hit. He didn't hit any of the big ones. He needed to hit Elise, Nomi, or Flute with a big 3. If he hits any one of those, the game dramatically tilts in his favor. If he doesn't, less so.
Yeah, honestly, I think from us calling Feoris one of the big 4 was probably erroneous. I think it's pretty much just the 3.
Needed,
yeah.
It's why I said when Bloodtrail like had Feoris hit, I think that should be happy. It's like, draw a card, put a 5/5 on the board for me. Okay.
Bit of a weird situation now, though, for Bloodtrail, where he really, really wants to... Like, if he could, he would just delete this Nourish from his hand. If he could just throw it over his shoulder, he gladly would, because he does not want to draw 3 cards, but he does not want to copy it with Elise.
I actually wonder if he should have.
Should have played it.
Yeah. Because he's nearly killed Shaxy. So maybe just rushing it is better.
What, guaranteeing Nomi next turn?
Just slamming Nomi, making him respond, then slam it again, make him respond.
He wants to play Elise first, though. Like, I think he knows that 2 Nomis is probably not good enough.
He can do 3 easily, right? Even if he plays the Nomi first.
Yes, you're correct. Sorry. Yeah, you are correct. Yes. Yeah. And maybe that's enough.
What if he just goes nuts and plays Tyrion as Flute?
Let's go bananas!
Ashbringer again!
I'm on 1!
Hey, 2 Tyrions, technically average lethal of 30 damage.
Why haven't people thought of this before? 2 Tyrions in Paladin!
Genius. And also, for those who don't know, the Elise effect is random.
Yes.
So if you have more cards than can fit in your hand that you duplicate, then it just randomly picks X amount that's needed to fill your hand up. So there's no way to control it, there's no way to influence it, other than having basically 5 or less cards. So you can guarantee every single one copies once.
Yeah.
So here, it will create, what, 5 cards for that. Which is...
Need a hand, Explorer?
That's exactly right. It could overdraw him a bomb as well, so going up to 10 cards here is arguably perfect.
Bloodtrail does not need any more cards from his deck right now, he just needs to have them gone.
I think whatever he's got left, I don't even know what it is, it's probably something useless.
If we don't know what it is, probably sucks.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, one's a bomb, right?
Yeah, one is a bomb, sorry, yeah, and the other one is...
One like Wrath or something?
Is it Hidden Oasis? Because he's got 1 Hidden Oasis in hand, but he got that
Oh,
discovered. Sorry.
Aha!
Duplicate. I mean, technically you're right. I just hate you with the passion of 1,000 suns.
Yep, well, this is what you get for those meme tweets about how bad it is to be my casting partner, Derek. You
Comes
do
from
what
a
you want
place
on
of love.
Twitter, I get you back mid-cast.
Yes.
Out of cards.
There we go. The Nomi comes down with the help of Ferocious Howl. 4 Nomis available.
Shaxy's
Will they be
shaking
good
his
enough?
head. He picks up a Brawl, but he knows it just doesn't really matter.
Warpath, Push Face, Plague of Wrath. You can even fit in a hero power, right? But he just needs to go more aggressive.
What if?
Warpath, Plague of Wrath. Oh no, you can't go Ziliax as well. Well, no, he could go Ziliax first.
Shields. What if he Ziliax shield slams or something like that?
Well, he could go Ziliax magnetized on, then Divine Warpath to get rid of the Divine Shield, then Plague of Wrath, and he could attack face with a 6 damage
That
guy.
is way more than 10 mana, Derek.
Oh yeah, it is way more than 10 mana. Yeah, sorry.
He could do that.
That's 12 mana. Yeah,
if the rules
sorry,
of
sorry,
Hearthstone
sorry,
didn't apply.
Sorry.
I'm wondering. Like,
I was thinking of Snip Snap for some reason.
I'm wondering, like, can he ever survive if he just Ziliaxed and went face? You know what I mean? Like I don't. You
yeah,
could shield
yeah.
slam 166 to reduce. I didn't do the maths if I'm honest.
I think honestly what I prefer is waiting for him to get Kaboom and then try and like stick something. And then go Kaboom, Plague of Wrath, and then Ziliax next turn.
Like he could like Kaboom, Plague, and just play Clockwork Goblin for some damage and then work off that. You mean, yeah. Well, he did
There's
technically
Kaboom.
stick something.
Right. Obviously this dies to to the Plague of Wrath anyway, unfortunately.
Means he can push damage though, because I'm pretty sure Bloodtrail does not want to wrath this.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Another Plague of Wrath. This is an answer to 3 Chef Nomis, which is an incredibly
And he has
big
wait,
distinction.
and he has Warpath.
Whoa.
He has Warpath Plague next.
He's missed 3 damage.
Yeah, he just didn't attack.
Hello?
Shaxy's stressing himself out here.
He's stressing me out. What are you doing, mate?
Out of cards.
He knows he's not good enough. That's the issue, right?
You don't just miss 3.
No. I know. I'm saying he's stressing out because he knows he's
yeah.
not got enough to actually clear all this.
If he's 3 damage off lethal, mate, like, I'm going to be annoyed.
Sure, Shaxy's too.
Yeah. Ooh, Super Collider. Is that ever a possibility?
Well,
Like
he
Super
can-
Collider Ziliax takes out 3 of them?
And remember, Nomi's only a 3/4, so you can ignore that bad boy. He doesn't do as much.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, like, it's not
Less
as
threat.
big of a threat. It's
Of course.
strictly less damage, right?
Yeah.
So he heals for 6 and goes up to, what's that? 20.
Unity. Precision.
He'll take 6 and go to 23.
Right.
1 hit has to go in, which would be, you'd say, weapon,
Which
because it's clean.
brings him up to
And then he has 6 of it.
29 again,
Uh,
which would not be lethal. Yeah, he'd survive that.
yeah.
Okay, then.
Okay, well, if
He's found a way to survive a turn.
if there's a chance, you do it.
Yeah.
Like, that's how the
He
game
needs
goes.
to find a way to get rid of 1 extra Chef Nomi, and then maybe he can get there. Even then, it's not guaranteed, because there's
Wait,
still
was-
2 hidden oases.
Well, it all depends about what Bloodtrail does this to. Right? I guess you just Oasis?
I think this is an Oasis
Hit
turn.
Oasis?
Yeah, yeah.
Because obviously,
You don't want to play
he
Nomi
can
here.
deal. He needs to deal with this board. Is what he needs to do. 'Cause
Yes.
he can deal with the next Nomi. He has Warpath Plague.
There's 1 more.
That's
though.
absolutely
yeah,
fine.
Yeah,
Well, there's not one more after the next one.
Right, but there's 1 right now is the problem.
Yeah,
This-
the rest of this. Yeah,
yeah.
he needs to deal with these 4 minions. Yeah.
Which is easier said than done, unfortunately. I mean, 1 Warpath on its own almost clears up the board of Chef Nomis is the problem. It's so close. This is why people were including Spell Zerker in their lists of
Right.
warriors, because it would allow you to clear off an extra Chef Nomi with 4 Warpaths and a Spell Zerker. Feels like the only play you want to present the most threatening board whilst obviously still holding back the Chef Nomi.
I mean, not bad.
Swing brings you down to 2 health. If you were to chain 5 Frightened Flunkies, you've survived. Well done, mate.
So he just has to Warpath.
Oh,
Plague,
even
right?
then he'd actually be dead, I think, yeah. I guess.
Just to see next turn. He has to
Yeah,
Warpath
yeah,
Plague
yeah,
and then Flunky, I guess.
Okay, then.
No fear of that.
Missile Launcher, there's no way he can get Venomizer, right? Not off the Discover, not off the...
Yeah, because
Yeah.
everything's technically a Discover, right? So you can't go class. Very
Yeah.
close.
Very close there.
But I think you can very quickly see the game plan of if Shaxy had Heckle-botted any of those 3 cards,
Yeah.
he probably just wins. Because
Yeah.
he could have
Probably.
dealt with those waves, and then there's not a lot to actually do. And the only reason he got pushed so low
Yeah.
was because he was saving his last set of removal for the extra wave. Whereas if his Hecklebot had hit any of those other 3 cards,
Yeah.
he would have been fine. I think
think
he would
so
have just
too.
won the game. And it's
Yeah.
I think the deck's a very good idea. It just didn't work that time. And it also means that now he has to reevaluate what he even queues in the next game. But while both players do that, we're going to go to a break. We'll be right back to continue Bloodtrail versus Shaxy.
Here comes the boom! Somebody order a bomb?
No. No. No.
We're gonna have some fun! Magic!
Here comes the thing.
This should be interesting.
Your will is no longer... Magic!
Okay then.
Need a hand, Explorer?
You'll find me wherever the action is. Onward to adventure!
Magic!
Hi, my name is Dylan. I play Hearthstone and my in-game name is Frosty. Favorite Tiki character probably has to be Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. I love his sarcastic wit and charm. Dog person is a fairly good way to describe me. Describe myself in a word, huh? Well, oh, geez, that's a bit of a toughie. Jokester. It's definitely got to be meat lovers, by far. There are a lot of handsome Europeans in the Hearthstone scene. You know, there's quite a few playboys out there, so I suppose if I could turn into another pro, it'd have to be Orange. I mean, he is pretty handsome and good looking, so what can I say?
Oh, look, another mage. Six, seven, eight. Oh my God, this is amazing.
Petra punch!
Big news coming in from the break. Direct did find out that sneezing in the sun apparently is a thing.
I'm a sun sneezer. Who'd have thought it?
It's not what I would have called you, Derek. But anyway,
I've been called much worse.
I bet. Let's get into this next game, and it is going to be Bloodtrail on the Paladin, I believe, versus Shaxy on his Druid. And this is going to be a spicy one, I think, because this is not normal Quest Druid. This is Quest Druid from a more refined, cool person. because it has Malygos in it.
I feel like this is probably your favorite deck that you've played in the expansion
I
so
think
far.
so,
You've talked about it a lot.
But I just like Mally decks. I love
love
Mally
Mally
Warlock back in the day, well, Dragon Lock, you know, whatever.
That was a cool deck.
That was cool.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Malygos Druid, I think, was one of the most overall like loved decks by pros not
I
too long ago. There you
loved
go.
that deck.
So I just feel like Malygos
Yeah.
makes for a good deck in almost anything because it's one where your win condition is so kind of quite difficult to pull off a lot of the
Yeah.
time. You have to play well to get there.
Yeah.
But if you get there, you win. So I think it's just a nice sort of work reward style deck
Yeah.
that feels good to play in. Normally, I feel like most Mally decks feel or have felt kind of fair
Yeah.
because they are quite difficult to make work. So yeah, I think I like Mally decks a lot. And for me, this feels way more fun than the like draw, know me,
I agree.
know me, got there. I'd rather go draw, Mally, Moonfire 50 times for 1,000,000 damage because it just feels cooler, at least in my boat. But let's just get into it and see how it works out. But yeah, I think because both decks kind of want to draw and then do crazy damage, I don't really know who wins this damage.
Yeah,
it's weird.
That's what I was going to ask you, is if you know who comes out on top.
No.
Right, because there's obviously a couple of things that work in the favor of both players. I would say that probably, on average, the Druid is going to get to its big damage combo quicker than the Paladin is. But the Paladin has better preventative measures than the Druid does to be able to get there.
Druid has armor. Right, Druid
Fair
can
point.
gain a lot of armor, and also you still run. Well, there's only one in this version Shaxy's playing, but he runs one Hidden Oasis, and there are 2 Ferocious Howls. That could be a lot of armor when you aren't really threatened. So Shaxy doesn't have to play Ferocious Howl on turn 4, like you would in a lot of matchups to gain armor drawing a card. He can wait till his hand's full. It's
true.
Ferocious Howl. You can gain a lot of health doing that, and also Shaxy is going to be putting on pressure, because he runs cards like Oasis Surger, and Bloodtrail won't be able to punish him getting to his quest activation. Like, oh no, 2 damage.
Yeah.
How will I survive? You know. So I don't know. I think it's a cool matchup. It probably can be quite close. But yeah, I think overall I'd rather be the Druid, because although there's timeouts from Bloodtrail, well, you're only timing out to wait until Malygos happens.
How easy is it to get 30 damage in one turn to come down for this Druid? Like, how long does that take to get?
Oh, it's
Really
fairly
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because, well, okay, lesson 1. If Florist hits Mally, you kill people.
Yeah.
Because the Elise copies are 2 mana.
Sure.
So you just go Mally, dead.
Yeah.
Which is absurd. Each Moonfire gets like plus 15 damage. So that's very easy. If Flute misses Mally, so to speak, then you can still do it because you end up still being able to go Mally, and then 4 Moonfires. Each Moonfire is doing 11, so that's 44
Very quick
damage.
damage,
So
yeah.
as long as you can do an Elise combo, you should win. Like, it's why it makes me laugh that so many people are playing, doing the Nomi approach to the Warrior matchup, where like I've like dealt 60 damage to Warriors before in one turn.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lot better, and there's nothing they can do about it because their armor's restricted by the game, right?
The really interesting thing about this particular game, which I honestly didn't expect, is that Shaxy's down to 17 health already. So while we have been talking about the benefit of armor in this matchup, and Shaxy will be able to gain a pretty considerable amount with the 2 Ferocious Hounds, probably gaining him somewhere in the range of about 17, 18 armor, I think it's fair to say. Bloodtrail is still very possibly going to end up in a situation where he has 1 Holy Wrath for lethal.
It's actually quite funny as well that both players' health is quite low. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like this super late game combo decks turned
Just
into an
smacking
aggro
each
off,
other.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, as well, this deck is can kind of do weird breakpoints because Shaxy's now playing a deck with Pounce.
Time waits for no one.
And again, obviously, copy Pounce with at least to do like extra
True,
push
yeah,
damage.
Up to 8 damage.
So maybe even with 1 Moonfire, and 2 Pounces, you copy them, and then with Malygos, Moonfire, Pounce, you can like.
Yeah.
I've not played the Pounce version, so I'm not sure what like the numbers are in terms of adding them up to see if they can do 30 super easy. I imagine so. Bloodtrail now gonna call it a day and be like, okay guys, let's just take a break and just clear off this board. But there's Floop. Both players halfway through the decks. Both decks draw very quickly. And
They do both draw very quickly, but I would say that the Paladin on average should draw actually a fair bit quicker than the Druid will. And I would say Bloodtrail has got a little bit unlucky with his draw overall this game. You know, lacking out on the Crystologies, the Prismatic Lenses as well. Those are the real powerhouse draw cards.
I don't know what to pick. Just pick Keeper the Grove just to do 2 damage to face. I don't know.
Maybe. There's not really much that you want to silence in this deck, which is, I think, by far the main reason you would pick Keeper the Grove.
Oh, this isn't a bad turn, actually. That's a pretty hefty That's going to draw you some cards.
That is indeed. Speaking of drawing cards, now Bloodtrail can start to ramp it up yet again. 2 cards here, another on the Novice potentially. Prismatic.
Could have gone for lethal that turn too.
Now we're talking.
Imagine. Holy Wrath. Oh, game.
Okay,
Never
fair
mind.
enough.
2-2.
I think that's what we categorize as a Raven play.
Frosty play.
Oh yeah, sorry. Frosty play. Well, I suppose hitting it and not getting lethal would be a Raven play.
Yes,
a
there you
Frosty
go.
play would
Fixed.
be getting lethal. Yeah.
Now you learn it.
I'm bad and unlucky. Joke's on you.
Welcome to my life. You do realize what, like, so me and Derek did some laddering the other day on my account.
Yeah.
And of course we lost most games. And I wasn't even surprised because we were playing on my account. If we'd switched to your account, we would have gone like 20-0.
Mate, did you hear me last night? I was getting giga high rolled.
That's because we would sat too close
Oh, what?
together.
You're like a sphere of unluckiness, like a cone.
Just avoid.
Yeah. Like in The Simpsons, where Bart is like a cone of idiocy, where everyone near him just gets dumber and dumber.
Yep. That's why I need Subtle with me normally to counteract
He
it.
rides you back up.
Yeah. We're just 2 completely opposite effects that just neutralize each other.
You're just 0. Because you, of course, have negative luck.
I hope you like my invention.
Okay, well, while we're talking absolute nonsense, Bloodtrail's like drawing his deck.
He has picked up on the draw big time. Look, 6 cards left only at this point, while Shaxy, in his own right, is also turbo drawing through his deck. But is this a fear for him? With drawing through this deck, how afraid do you have to be of having too many rubbishy cards in hand?
So this is where the pounces come in as well. You can just dump pounce if you want to, if you want the space for the other stuff. Because if you just throw away 2 pounces, but they enable you to release into 4 Moonfires, you do it.
Oh,
right?
Of course.
So the pounces work in a double factor, I think, where Elise can push a lot of damage with... sorry, the pounces can also push damage with Elise, or they can just empty hand.
It's actually starting to become a non-insignificant amount of damage just with...
Yeah, what if he just Starfalls this turn?
Yeah, or sure. I really don't mind that.
Because what he also can do is force Bloodtrail to play timeouts, which slows Bloodtrail down. And the second he does a timeout, he kills you. So even this, like, this is part of the game that people don't realize
6,
as
7,
well.
14
There's
damage.
just Moonfire is still 12 damage. You can still just kill people the old-fashioned way.
So with the spell power off of the Loti on board, Malygos double Moonfire, double Pounce is like 18 damage.
Yes.
I wonder.
Which is huge. It demands either a clear or a timeout.
The problem is Bloodtrail going to timeout this turn?
We shall see.
The best part is, it's that much damage without the attack from the minion. Isn't it 22 with the attack?
I mean, it's so far over lethal, it's not even close.
And he has to time out.
I think this is a fine time to time out here. Especially as, you know, Bloodtrail is getting close to the position where he could just go for a Hail Mary lethal. Could have gone before there was the hidden Oasis. Now Shaxy can protect himself. And, I mean, I don't know about you, I quite fully expect to see hidden Oasis on this turn. Unless it's Malygos to get flute Malygos.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. So you can like just dump Malygos whenever you want, and then just flute, swipe, and then Moonfire, pounce.
That sends all kind of alarm bells ringing though for Bloodtrail. As soon as you play Malygos into this situation, that 100% says I'm setting up for flute lethal next turn. But what can he do about that, I guess, is the question.
Well, that's it.
Just go for a surprise lethal?
I think it might be better to...
You could just go for the 1 in 3. Okay.
Because it means you almost certainly aren't dead. And if you aren't dead, can Bloodtrail threaten you, draw, and heal again?
Yeah.
Because he kind of has to do all 3, right?
Waits for no one.
Oh, it's going for I think
Is he
I'd
going
hit
for Mali?
Oasis.
I think I'd hit an Oasis as well. He doesn't know that the Holy Wrath got reduced, but Bloodtrail here can go for a 2 out of 3 lethal, I believe.
Why would he play bounce? He never played bounce. Okay. That's good.
Oh, because he doesn't want to
he's gonna
overdraw.
overdraw. Yeah. Well, the game gets decided very quickly right now.
So he has timeout, right?
Yeah, far left.
Yes. But he knows that his opponent is getting closer to the healing card, so it's not necessarily as simple as go for 100% lethal next turn. Yes, because timeout would just win the game. It may be the case of you just go for the, what is I believe, a 2 out of 3, right? Because you go Shivala, Shuffle, 5 mana Holy Wrath, 2 mana Holy Wrath, you're left with 1 card in deck.
But can't he... What about timeout, equip the weapon swing? Because you chip armor.
Right, but that still opens up Hidden Oasis.
And then you can't swing anyway.
Unless we were to see Shivala double shuffle and then Holy Wrath. No, that doesn't make it better next turn.
Oh, this is tricky.
It's really tricky.
Quickly.
We can see that his best shot is probably just to go for it this turn.
And the worst part is like, okay, timeout. If you can't set up a win this turn, well, the Mali's a threat now, and the Mali's more of a threat next turn.
Oh.
Because for all Bloodtrail knows, Shaxy could have elites, which means you can start doing like really silly things. Dream Petal, that's fine.
That's fine.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Game's going too fast for Dream Petal. So now what? Ferocious Howl and then Hidden Oasis? Just pass?
That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Oh, that deck's so sick. It's insane.
It does overdraw you another card then, so maybe that's territory where you throw away. Oh, you can go with the Expedition. Yeah, then you don't draw a card. That's perfect.
Oh, Ancient Law for the heal.
Sure.
I think 5 health in the immediacy negates the closer to fatigue you get, I think. Maybe he wants a cheaper card to get out of
Mark of the lower,
Elise,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't think Elise is actually...
As soon as he can deliver lethal, I think he will, right?
Yeah, I don't think Elise is a big of an issue.
Because how much is Malygos and then double Moonfire is 12, and then plus 9 is the 21, and then 25, so he has 25 out of hand as it currently stands.
And that's without any minion swings.
Yeah. Yes, very important.
And also, of course, like one of these minions is stealth. So outside of an AoE clear, that minion is always gets to attack. Oh, and the +1 spell damage if the Loti lives
Excellent
as well
point
adds
as well.
up.
Yeah.
So that's what, +1, 2, +3.
And now Bloodtrail cannot go for the win.
And this is the issue, right?
Yeah, this is why I was saying Bloodtrail should have gone for the OTK last turn.
Because if he Pyro and Shrink Raise, then
He has to know that he's just going to
then
die.
then he's
Just dead.
He's
The
dead, right?
game's just over, yeah. It's still Malygos.
So he's on 22. He's definitely dead, right? 12
so.
plus swipe. Yeah,
21.
Pounds.
Yep, just lethal.
Even at least. Yeah, that's just going to be game. Shaxy takes the win. Bloodtrail just getting caught in awkward situations where you just can't quite do everything you need to do in a turn. And that's one of the fear factors of Malygos as well, especially after it just being dropped on board.
It was lethal he could have gone for as well. Before the Hidden Oasis and
Pretty sure.
the Ferocious Howl. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I was just wondering if I maybe
Well, he had
miscounted
weapon
the health
swing as
and
well,
armor.
right?
Yeah.
Because there wasn't a taunt up at that point. He hadn't hit an Oasis, obviously.
Well, he hadn't equipped the weapon at that point, so the play was he could have gone for was Shivala, Shuffle with Baleful Banquet, and then double
Yeah, that definitely
double Holy Wrath,
like,
which is 2 out of 3 for lethal.
yeah, I think so, yeah.
And I know what he's going for, because the fact that there was a Malygos instead of any kind of armor or heal from Shaxy on the previous turn perhaps gave Bloodtrail the read that there wasn't any heal in hand, which is a reasonable read to make, I think. But he's drawing 2 cards with both the natural draw and the Crystal Merchant as well.
Yeah.
So the chances of him drawing one of the heal cards he has left in his deck is, I think, very high. And therefore, I think I would have preferred from Bloodtrail to just go for the 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I think it was very tough, right? It was very tricky. But also there's a chance that like the Malygos was played, so you're under threat of lethal because of what else is in hand. but I think that was maybe less likely. I don't know. That was kind of tough, but congratulations, Shaxy, taking a win there.
Yeah.
With the Mali Druid. I think the deck's pretty cool.
Me too.
It's, or at least for me, at worst, it's more fun than playing the Nomi and King Forest version.
Yeah.
Because you just get to do broken things, which is great. But there's going to be one more game left of this series, as that was the game that evened it all up. So we're going to find out what is left, or more importantly, what the queuing game is.
Yeah.
Bloodtrail will obviously have his Paladin still left, and Shaxy will have, I believe, his Paladin and his Warrior left.
And I think it gets a little bit close where Shaxy could very well consider using his Paladin, because if he matches it up into the Warrior, Quest Paladin versus Warrior is incredibly one-sided. Like, even more so than like Priest versus Druid. I think like it's probably the most one-sided matchup that we have at the moment, where if you hit any kind of a reasonable curve as the Paladin, the Warrior just never ever has enough answers to all your stuff. But then I think Shaxy is thinking, if I do go for that deck and he goes for the Holy Wrath Paladin, maybe it's a little bit closer and he's able to draw before I can kill him. Even then, I played that matchup a couple of times as the Quest Paladin. Maybe the Holy Wrath Paladins I was playing against weren't very good. They're doubtless worse than Bloodtrail. They're not Grandmasters, just random ladder opponents. But it felt not that bad to me as the Paladin. It's very, very difficult for your opponent to clear the board, because you have obviously mechanical whelps, the eggs as well, that make it very difficult for your opponent to clear. And as soon as you proc them, you're pushing a lot of damage.
Yeah, I guess I've not played the matchup as at all, actually. I don't think I ran into one when I was playing Quest. Just so you know, we are having the matchup, but the opposite way around. It's Holy Wrath Paladin versus Warrior.
Yes.
But what if they let you fill the board and then they just shrink ray?
Yeah, well, that's the fear.
Is that like what they should do?
I guess
maybe?
so. But I think even then, like...
Because then they have shrink ray, timeout, timeout.
There's only one shrink ray in the deck, though, so that's one chance for them to completely clear off the board. And then, even if their board is completely clear, just something like Ziliax magnetized on or a Noya module magnetized on, if you've got 4 minions in play, that's like 7-8 damage a turn that you're pushing, even after they shrink ray. And if that's their big not-so turn, like... I think you're happy enough.
No, like, if you shrink ray a board, so it's 7 damage a turn, and then with heals and timeouts, maybe it's enough time.
Maybe they can get that. Again, as I said, I'm not convinced that the Quest Paladin is favoured at all.
Well, anyway, let's go into this one, though. Sorry.
Lightning fast.
Oh, yeah, Holy Wrath Paladin versus Control Warrior. Again, Hecklebots. Oh, it's a big deal.
That's a juicy card.
It's
if
a
he
big
hits
deal.
Baleful Bank, well, obviously Shivala. If he hits Shivala, the game ends on the spot. He wins. There's no win condition for Bloodtrail. If he hits Baleful Banker, I'd honestly say that's as close as makes no difference to game 1, because it would have to be 25 damage to close out the game at that point. Or, you know, Shivala's attacking face. There's still win conditions for Bloodtrail. But any of those 2 minions being hit, I think pretty much locks out the game in Shaxy's favour.
Let's see, he's got the Hecklebot now, and
I hope you like my invention.
it's a weird one, right? Because because the deck has so many minions, it's not like the Druid matchup.
Yeah.
Does Shaxy just play the Hecklebot whenever he can play it and it's not bad? Because there's no way to tell, right?
Right,
Like, you can't be like, oh, well, he holds this in his deck until whenever. It's like, no.
When he plays it, he wins.
Because it's not from hand, it's from deck.
Yes.
There's no read. You just play it and hope it hits the right thing.
Yes, and if Bloodtrail is playing correctly, there should be no point at which he shuffles Shivala into his deck and just leaves it there, right? He will shuffle Shivala, sorry, and then draw it with the Holy Wrath instantly.
Just as much so that Shaxy, I think, when he plays it, will need to have an answer to shit.
Whoa! Oh! He's got the answer.
Yeah, because he can...
Warpath trade and then the rush or whatever. That's game!
Does Bloodtrail just...
Bloodtrail's dead!
Concede? He has no win condition. Look at Shaxy's face.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's the guy. Oh, wow. And you know what?
Get absolutely Shrek'd.
Yes, one, haha. These things happen. But before we just laugh, because it was very funny, similar to the Holy Wrath off the top last season. Honestly, Shaxy's put 2 Hecklebots in his Warrior deck.
Yes!
He could have just demolished Bloodtrail and the Druid matchup. If he'd hit any one of the 3, the game changes, he probably wins. He did demolish him in the Paladin matchup, and if the meta is around super key game-winning cards,
Yeah.
and you put in cards that pull those out, yes, that was kind of silly, but he wanted to do it, right? Like, he put the cards in his deck to do this exact thing. Yes, it was lucky, but for it to be lucky, you have to play the cards.
Yeah.
And also have an answer to Shivala, so he set it up, played at the right time, and unlucky Bloodtrail, I guess,
Yeah.
because I don't
Get
know, he
wrecked,
just wins.
I guess is a good way to put it. And
Yeah.
you know, as you said, to Shaxy, I think the Hecklebots this particular week of Grandmasters was a fantastic conclusion,
Yeah, on
because
point.
every single deck, it feels like, has one giga powerful card that its entire game plan doesn't necessarily revolve around, but is a huge power spike in their game plan.
Right.
Be it you know, Zephrys or Dino Tamer Bran, or the Shivala, Elysiana that you've got in those decks as well.
Yeah.
So many of these decks, Amit as well. There's so many power cards you can hit that if you hit them, it feels like you give yourself so many more percentage points.
And also
in the
as
matchup.
well, it's not just randomly been thrown into the Warrior deck.
Yeah.
The Warrior deck has then, after the Hecklebots, been built to destroy everything else. There's 2 Plagues, 2 Brawls in there, as much removal as possible to say, okay, against Druid, if I pull one of the 3 copies, they can't go wild forever.
Yes.
So I can clear all the Nomis. If against, you know, Paladin, and just as much so, if there's, depending on the Paladin build of Quest, if you pull out some eggs and kill them off, then it's just less things they can duplicate so easily. So I don't know, I think like Shaxy got super lucky in that game to just rip the one of.
Understatement of the century.
Yeah, but he set it up to do so. His other Warrior decks cannot do that and have a much harder time in the matchup than just winning it on the spot. So, anyway,
Should we move on?
I don't really want to.
Yeah, I know. I kind of
think-
want to keep laughing
can
at
we just get a
Bloodtrail.
clip and just replay it over and over again? I think that makes a pretty solid content.
A dance remix of that, of just Bloodtrail losing the will to live over and over
Pretty
again.
sure if you follow Derek on Twitter, which you can do at Derek Brown, which you can see below us there, you'll probably see some kind of meme built.
The gears are ticking
Yeah,
already.
I knew it. I
already.
knew it.
Yeah.
The first thing he thinks about when these things happen isn't, okay, casting, you know, how do we make this exciting? What do we talk about? It's like, no, what meme could I make from this?
How can I gain 2 followers from an entire afternoon's work?
2 is extreme. I try and do like 2 a week or something. That's my goal. But anyway, the next matchup is going to be